It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. People are talking about interest rate anxiety. We hear it all the time with buyers. We hear it all the time with sellers. And we've got some solutions. Stay tuned. We'll talk about them right now.
Oh, we're back. Mark, how are you?
Good, Stevs. You?
Good, yeah. Well, thanks. Well, thanks. Do I sound okay? Because my voice is gone today.
Stevs, you sound beautiful, man.
Smooth.
You sound beautiful.
Smooth.
Yeah,
I love it.
smooth.
I love it.
Smooth.
Beautiful.
Hey,
Beautiful.
we had a
Yes.
good long hard think about today. We talked, and you and I said, what do people want to know about? What is the question on everyone's lips? What are people concerned about? What are people stressed about? What are people thinking? And we couldn't help but to double back to this topic.
I think it's the topic everyone wants to know: the interest rates, the anxiety that comes with it. Is it everything it's cracked up to be? Guys, we don't think it is. We've got the medication. We're going to talk to you about it. 5 pills to swallow, maybe an extra one as well. It's going to help you get through this curve and show you that, this might be actually the best window to make your property dreams happen as well.
And you know what?
Right.
It's not forever. You're right, Stevs. You've just got to come out of the other end. You've just got to come out of the end. You don't have to be a hero, smash it. You just got to come out of the other end. So we're talking all the time with people. So we thought we'd give top 5 medications for people to look at. Even if it's not particularly cash in the bank medication, but it's actually food for the brain medication where people go, actually, thank you. I actually don't feel that stressed about the situation now that we've sort of spoken about it, things like that. So it's quite easy. And guys, it's a live show. So if you've got any questions, feel free to ask.
Oh,
What's Lisa asking about subtitles for?
We have subtitles. She thinks she's on SBS. I don't know. Lisa, sorry. I'm over 40. I don't know how that works on here. Mark might help.
What do subtitles mean?
Means what are you saying? Excellent. Okay.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Are you ready for the first one?
Okay.
I'll do my version.
You do number one. You love number one.
Okay, so interest rate anxiety. Everyone's got it. We've got the medication. Top 5 facts. Watch this one. Ready? Boom.
Has it come up? Oh, there it is.
This one's from our guys at Shore Financial. We've stolen this from those lovely boys there, very clever mortgage brokers. Now, Stevs, do you want to take this from the top?
Absolutely. So, I mean, you can see the column on the left. On the right, it says the number of dwellings. So, 10.8 million dwellings throughout the Australian property market, with a real estate value of $9.4 trillion in that. You can see how property compares to, say, your superannuation, to stocks held by Australians, commercial real estate, residential real estate, 9.4 trillion, commercial real estate, $1.3 trillion worth of property. Now, let's look. A lot of people think, oh my God, we're on the brink, we're teetering of a financial collapse and a housing collapse. The outstanding mortgage or debt you can see on there is 2.1 trillion, right? So if you combine your residential and your commercial, you are just, I'm going to round it up, 10.5 trillion. And the outstanding mortgage or debt on that is 2.1. I mean, it's 20%. So it's not that we're at 80%, mortgage debt. We're at 20%. So 20% of the debt is 20% of the housing value. Is what our level of debt is at the moment. So a lot of people thought, and when you talk to people that, we're 60, 70%, 80%, over mortgaged on the Australian property market, we're not. It's only a small amount. That's what I make out of it.
That takes away from a bit of anxiety to think that in our country we've got $10 trillion of homes, we've got $2 trillion of loans. That makes me feel a bit comfortable.
Yeah, it's pretty stable. It's pretty stable.
Pretty stable.
But I mean, and housing makes up the majority as well. Like when you saw the stocks and super, housing's where most Australians' wealth is as well. And we'll talk about it a little bit later. But you know, we'll talk about how the government's involved with this as well. But you know, most Australians have got this housing. Sorry, I should say, makes up the biggest value that Australians hold. And it's only logical that the biggest debt is going to be, you know, interest rates as well against that. So it's pretty, in my opinion, a 20%. Should we use LVR as like a rough comment? 20% LVR is, you know, not too bad. Well, it's actually 80%. We've got 80%.
I feel safe. I feel safe that if most of the country's wealth is held in property, it's very close to the bosom of Australians and close to the bosom of the government and close to the bosom of the banks to look after that asset. Don't be mean to it. It's where a lot of sentiment's held.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you like the word
Beautiful.
bosom?
You're bosom buddies.
Thanks.
All right. So that's number one, is just the level of debt is 20%. It's not 80%. Number two, we're talking about the percentage of everybody's talking, all the buyers. Oh, I'm waiting. All the fixed rates are about to end. I'm going to cash in as a buyer. The market's about to drop.
My God, when everyone comes off their fixed rates, it's going to be
what are we
catastrophe, is what people are saying.
Yeah, the market's over.
Do you have anything to fix my anxiety on that, Steve?
I do. You might be shocked to learn that only a third of the country's mortgages are going to be coming off fixed rates next year, or this year, sorry. So it's not, again, it's not 80%, it's not 90%, it's 30%. 30%, 1 in 3 will be coming off that fixed rate. So
2/3 have already climatized to the current rates, is what you're saying.
Absolutely. Yeah, spot on. So only 1/3 is sitting on fixed rates, guys. So sorry if you're a buyer and your strategy is that. Sorry if you've paid money to somebody to tell you that it's going to be different. That's where it is, 1/3. Number 3 is that, look, the rate's definitely pushing up the payments, but the rental cycle has just dramatically jumped. I know we're on the Northern Beaches, Mark, but look at what's going on here with prices on the rental side. We were saying, you know, the flexibility now to be able to rent your home out and take that income to help you to assist, and, you know, you go live with mum and dad, or go lease somewhere cheaper, or, you know, live somewhere else as well, and still hold the asset, is very, very realistic as well. So if you are, you know, pushed towards that top end of your comfort level, there's an option to rent, which probably 2 or 3 years ago wasn't such a great idea if we were in this position. But today, with the way the market is and rental returns, and you can't go far without turning the TV on, and there's lines out the door for rentability and numbers of stock out there. So rents have jumped in the eye of property prices being affected by the rates. The rental market's absolutely boomed behind it.
So if you've just tuned in, we're talking about interest rate anxiety. We're talking about the topic that we are most addressed with of real estate agents in the community. Steve and I thought about, what can we talk about tonight? What's the elephant in the room? It's definitely interest rates. There's definitely anxiety around it. So we thought, what are some of the medications that people are throwing around, or the way they're dealing with it? You've just presented number 3. Number 3 is you rent the puppy out, and you've got this banging income of 500 a week is 25 grand a year, 700 a week is 35 grand a year, 900 a week is 45 grand a year. Smashes the mortgage.
Yeah. So really good rental market. 4? Number 4, we were talking about how the GFC previously, when we've seen a change in housing prices, is more of an economic factor. This year's factor is interest rate driven, which is a government controlled factor. So we were saying that, you know, this is not This is something that the government's created the RBA has created by putting up rates, and that's what's really affecting our property market. It's not that there's an external force beyond them that is controlling or dictating how our property market's going. GFC, global finance, the whole economy across the world, the RBA, COVID, that's right. We were at mercy at COVID and those kind of factors. This is the RBA controlling our inflation via their strategies, whether you agree with them or not, but this is what's going on. And it's something that can be reversed or changed, if they need, or controlled or monitored closer than a GFC or than COVID could have been, or whatever else there might be going on in the world. This is
Stevs, that means a lot. That means a lot to me. Yeah. That means a lot. When I was looking up the wall of COVID, and not a government, not a person, not a doctor, not a professor had the solution or even the medication to make a change to COVID, I was worried. When I saw that happen with GFC, and it was a global thing and it was a financial crisis, I was worried. I was like, no one's actually got the antidote or the, to this. But I like what you've just said about the government. I've liked what you've just said about if it gets real bad, too bad, they can always tweak the levers a little bit with interest rates. They can pull them back. It's true.
Yeah. So it's a little bit more of a controlled environment than it would have been with some other things. So that's point number 4. Point number 4. Number 5 was an interesting topic. We had some contribution from Michael Silich on this one. And we were talking about going through when you were, for people that have applied for loans, previous to everything that happened in the last 12 months, the banks always had a built-in buffer for it as well. So it's not that this has caught them, unaware. Mark, you might want to talk about the buffer a little bit more.
Yeah, like I think there's always been a 3 or 4% buffer on top of what they loaned you. And that buffer's been going on for 5 or 10 years, definitely 3 to 5 years, where banks have factored in that you will be able to afford a rate rise of 2, 3, or 4%, more like 4, maybe percent. So the banks have actually looked at your honest numbers, looked at your honest situation, looked at your honest purchase, and said, you know what, I think these guys can afford it even in height of time. So at the end of the day, if you've got a fixed rate and you are paying and you're coming off those fixed rates and the rates are 2, 3, 4% more than your fixed rates, it's been factored in that you can afford it. You were whinging about it because they wouldn't lend you any more money, and now it's rung true. That's all they loaned you, and you're coming off that fixed rate.
That's right. And, so
a
little bit of a buffer there.
If you're coming off a fixed rate, you've been assessed in the last 3 years.
Yeah, that's right. That's a very, very valid point. Very valid point.
And if they've assessed you in the last couple of years, they've factored in a good solid rate rise into what they've lent you. So it can't be that bad.
So that's point number 5. I know we did say 5 facts exposed, so that's 5. But I was also going to say, if you're a buyer in this marketplace, it is a great opportunity to be buying property. You are ahead, unfortunately, of your competitors that were out there 12 months ago buying. But something we're not seeing a lot of, and as the media portrays doom and gloom, is forced sales, is these mortgagees in possession. We're on the front line selling every day, Mark, and the number of clients we have that are in a position where they have to be forced is really, really minimal. I haven't had one. Maybe the officers had one where they've said, look, this is probably a good idea for me to let this go. But it's not that the bank was on their neck saying, hey, we're taking this tomorrow if you don't move this. So I think as a marketplace, we're pretty active on the beaches. We can see there's not a lot of these mortgagees in possession or those type of sales coming up. And that's the last thing, in my opinion, that the government wants. It's the last thing that the banks want. And I think that if it ever did get to that point, like we were saying earlier, they could play with those levers, jiggle them around a little bit to keep it a bit tighter. But guys, look, overall, good property market, good time to buy, still good time to sell. If you're upsizing, you haven't been in a better market to upsize than you have been in the last, probably 10 years than you are today.
Can I say that would you prefer to buy $1 million?
Yeah.
Let me just work this one out. $1 million. Prices have come back 20%. Now it's 800 grand. Would you prefer to buy a property a year ago at 2% for $1 million?
It would depend.
Or would you prefer to buy a property today for $800,000 on a 4% interest rate?
I haven't done the sums, but I'd probably say at 800,000. Because I know
less, off the cuff, straight up, straight out, off the cuff. You are taking a 25-year, maybe even a 30-year mortgage on an extra $200,000.
Yeah.
Like, how good is it that rates have gone up? How good is it that you're buying it for 200 grand less? And how good is it that the mortgage for your rest of the life that you're paying interest on is going to be less?
Yeah.
I know I'm turning things around to suit the salesperson, but it's bloody true.
Yeah. And the rates will change in the future. Just because the rates are where they are today doesn't mean they're here, in 5 years' time, 10 years. 10 years ago, they weren't where they are today, and nor were they 3 years ago. So, who's going to say in 3 years you can refinance to an even better position and you've got a smaller loan? So I agree with you on that one, Mark, 100%. It's a good one.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is a show, and hopefully we've taken away a little bit of interest rate anxiety off everyone today.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining us, Mark. Good to see you again. It's been a while.
Thanks, Deej. You're a legend. I love doing lives with you. You're so...
Oh, look, it's still daylight savings outside here.
All right, take care, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the show. See ya.